football players at an evangelical Christian college in Illinois called Wheaton College did something that's causing a little controversy. About 20 players decided to wear KKK robes for what they described as a parody of a scene in the movie Bad Boys 2. Quote, 20 players, including some who are black, performed the skit February 28th during an off-season team-building activity at the campus gym. The group wore white KKK-style hoods and robes and carried Confederate flags during the skit, which 2 coaches watched. The college president learned of the skit shortly after it was performed and called a 1 a.m. meeting with football team captain Josh Aldrin, who helped organize the performance and took responsibility for the content. He said, quote, as a black male, a team captain, and the leader of the group that performed the skit, I should have understood that the KKK and Confederate symbols are not funny in any context. We hope the campus community will forgive us for our own actions. We did not fully consider the hurtful meanings these symbols carry and the terrible evil that has been carried out under them. We, as a team, now understand this skit was inappropriate and offensive. Now, also I should add, this school has had some controversy in the past as well. They sued the Obama administration over the contraception mandate in Obamacare, so they're not exactly on the right side overall, let's say. They're an evangelical school, and they sued the Obama administration because they didn't want their female teachers to get birth control under the health insurance policy. So there's some issues here for sure, but overall, am I on the side of total outrage and total condemnation and, you know, punish them and wag your finger? I'm actually not. And I'm not because not only does context matter, context is everything. And as there's somebody in the article who's quoted as saying something which I think is totally true. They're like, no, you don't get the purpose of what we did was not to promote racism. It was to make fun of racism. Because for those of you who know the scene in Bad Boys 2, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, they end up, I think, shooting the different KKK guys, shooting one in the ass or something, and they end up getting the upper hand, and the KKK guys look like country bumpkin idiots, right? So, wait a second. To say that in no context is the Confederate flag or the KKK appropriate or funny, but that's just not true. I mean, Dave Chappelle did one of the all-time best skits ever, comedy skits ever, with the black white supremacist, the guy who's blind and black, but he's a white supremacist. That entire skit was full of people wearing KKK robes. I'm sure there was a Confederate flag in there or two somewhere. And it was perfectly appropriate and perfectly funny, right? Because it's mocking the stupidity of racism. So is there an effective way to do satire? Of course, and I actually think this falls perfectly within that. If you do some sort of team-building exercise where the black kids are Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, and then they end up, you know, getting the upper hand on the white kids, pretending to be in the KKK with the Confederate flag, and they mock them in a good way, and of course, I see no problem with it. To try to act like mentioning something in any context is equally wrong, that's just totally disingenuous. It's like saying that if I do a story about somebody using the N-word and then I use the N-word as that person and then I mock it, right? It's like saying that I'm equally as wrong as the Southern ultra-conservative racists who used the word in the first place. But that's not true. It's like the cancel Colbert thing. You remember that? There was an account that wasn't even linked to Stephen Colbert or his show because it was a parody account, right? A different account. And they tweeted out something making fun of the Redskins owner because the Redskins owner set up some sort of thing for Native Americans to try to raise money for them, obviously to try to, you know, make up for the fact, like, forget the name. I know the name is bad, but hey, I'm giving money to these guys, right? So Colbert, the parody account said something like, we're setting up a society for Asian people, the Ching Chong Ding Dong Society or whatever. And then people were doing hashtag cancel Colbert, and they were mocking that, and they're like, ironic racism is never okay under any circumstance. But the whole point of that is to mock the racism itself. You're shedding light on how stupid the racism is by making a joke where you become that caricature, the racist caricature. So to say that that's no different than actual racism, well, you totally missed the point then. It doesn't get through your concrete head. You don't get the concept of satire. You don't understand. It's you lacking understanding as opposed to you taking like a principled stand on something. So I actually, while I disagree with what they did with Obama on the contraception mandate, and I disagree with the evangelical college overall because I'm sure they teach some bullshit because it's an evangelical college. Of course I disagree with that. But if the team got together and they decided, let's reenact Bad Boys 2 and have the black kids mock the white kids and the white kids dress this way, if they decide to do that, I'm not outraged at all. In fact, I think it's fine. I want to see more people mocking racism in as many ways as possible. To me, this is the equivalent of having an actual play where you have dumb racists in the play and the racists are mocked. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm not mad at them at all. I couldn't disagree more with the people who are, in my opinion, faking outrage on this.